We've been building businesses historically, centralized businesses historically. But we're going to be moving from building businesses to building communities. What differentiates the winners from the losers over time is their ability to build and sustain a community, which means you have to put your community first.
The future is now. In association with Futurama Blockchain Innovators Media, together with Coinsbank, Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit, Dubai. Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit has managed to gather the frontrunners in the world of blockchain. Brock Pierce, James Glasscock, Joshua Hung, Miko Matsumura, as well as major investment funds and members of the Arabic family offices came to partake in what people have already called the most mesmerizing conference of the year.
I live in Dubai. I did not see such a show since ages. This was better than New Year's Eve.
You've brought together wonderful people. You put together the social activities, because that's where the real bonds are formed. You guys have done a phenomenal job of marrying the two.
Futurama is an effort to kind of create a point of concentration where the future can be brought out from.
The influencers of the industry is here.
Everything what I saw before, by far, not that good like Futurama.
The Future is Now, a captivating documentary series on the progress of blockchain technologies and its active role in shaping the future. Stay tuned. In association with One Day Productions.
Miko Matsumura, the founder of Evercoin Exchange and an investor at one of the biggest crypto funds in the world, the Pantera Foundation.
And I can tell you that the Bitcoin blockchain is probably one of the worst databases that I've ever seen.
A man that perhaps can elaborate on all things blockchain in the most concise and interesting way.
It's terrible because it burns electricity, and it's terrible because it's exceedingly slow. So you have to ask yourself, if you're looking for a database, why would you use such a terrible database? And the answer is, you wouldn't. You would never use it for a database because it's terrible at being a database. So why would you use it? Very simple answer. You would use this because you don't trust anyone. That's why you would use this, because every node receives messages about the state of the network. When they receive the message, the immediate response of the node is, this isn't what happened. It's only after receiving confirmations through proof of work that make it economically and thermodynamically impossible to lie to this network. That is astonishing, right?
Brock, it's a pleasure having you here. Thanks so much for coming and supporting. This is the first Futurama of its kind.
A billionaire to me is someone that's positively changed the lives of 1 billion people.
Yes, the general feel of Futurama was exactly how it was described by many of its guests, a platform for shaping the future. Each hour as the discussion progressed between the conference, speakers, and our interviews, it seemed that we learned more and more about the grasp of this community and the steps it's taking to create that future and ensure its success for generations ahead, as well as the bumps in the road that should be avoided if we are to succeed in this global task of changing our planet.
So if you want to think about long-term impact, how do you make a big difference? Puerto Rico's a big island. It's not small. but there's 3 million people there. This one little city with 100,000, 20,000 of which are college students, is where I think we can make the biggest impact. But where I can make the biggest difference and where we collectively can make the biggest difference, I think is there. Where the future's at, and equipping these 20,000 young adults that are going to be going into the market and trying to be productive members of society. And historically, if they wanted to be an entrepreneur, there's no startups that have raised millions of dollars of venture capital in Puerto Rico, none.
My worry is the young people which came to the money, can they manage that? Do they understand the corporate governance in all what needed to create really company? And they will go through this development.
That's the fear. I'm concerned, not for me, I'm too old, I'm too jaded, I've been there and done it. I'm concerned for my children. I'm looking, everyone involved in the blockchain is young and vibrant and dynamic, and I wish I was younger again so I could join them. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of what sort of world do I want my children to be brought up in. So I'm really incentivized to make that happen and cause as much change for the positive as possible. Not for my own sake, it's too late for me, but for my children, my grandchildren.
One of the more daunting obstacles at the time of Futurama was the SEC's May 7th meeting in regards to Ethereum and the possibility of the Security Exchange Commission making the second largest cryptocurrency an actual security, which would ultimately have an extremely negative impact on the multi-million-dollar market of something that Brock Pierce calls community offerings.
Businesses, as we think of them historically, have a misalignment of interest. You have 3 core constituents. You've got an employee, a customer, a shareholder. The problem you have is that there's a complete misalignment of interest amongst those 3 parties. They all want something different. They're not actually aligned. What we get is we start building communities rather than businesses, as we're building open source communities.
As you watch this film now, the SEC has ruled in favor of the crypto community. Ethereum is not a security token, but debating this looming possibility at the time of Futurama gave us an insight as to why the SEC took pity on the second biggest token.
So the implication of that, if they say yes, it's a security, what do you think? What's the avalanche that's coming?
I think it will be difficult for them to declare Ether to be a security. If that indeed comes to pass, I think that it will be difficult environment even for them, right? Because what you have to understand from the regulatory perspective is that they have to be gated by enforcement actions, interpretation, legislation, but they have to be able to back it up with enforcement.
Within this Cambrian explosion of ICOs, $6.5 billion talent grab, there are dormant thousands of projects that could potentially traction. And the reason why traction is important is really because we're talking about exponential technologies.
One of the things that's clear about the signaling is that they don't want to make US companies uncompetitive, right? So in a way, crypto is part of fintech innovation, and they really don't want to cripple innovation within the United States boundary and bring all of that economic benefit to other countries.
I think the intention for the SEC, my understanding is that they don't necessarily want to destroy the market, but they want to safeguard investors.
The world of blockchain seems to be misunderstood by regulators throughout the world. It seems the main problem is that much of these regulators and government officials do not really understand the whole concept of crypto and blockchain and what it is exactly they are regulating.
I know that the SEC think that every utility token is a security. So things need to happen from a regulatory standpoint to provide better guidelines in order to kind of understand what these tokens are.
They need to be ready, and the study, the learning has to be has to be conducted before they make come up with the regulations.
It was no doubt up to the pioneers of the future, the people who are involved in fighting for this extremely difficult battle of creating a community, marching under the banner of an ICO and doing it out of integrity and goodwill. The Futurama team thoroughly checked all the 20-some applicants who participated in the conference, while our team had to select the more exciting projects that promise to disrupt and change the global market in various sectors that they are involved in. Bitnautic, ships and shipments on the blockchain.
We are creating a platform, really a community of shippers and ship owners and carriers that will meet together to negotiate their own terms.
Casco to Go, car insurance on the blockchain.
Casco to Go offer usage-based insurance, so you pay as you drive.
Terra Virtua, create your own virtual world on the blockchain.
By delivering the content on the blockchain, we can ensure that any element of resale that the developer, the creator, gets their cut. And that's wonderful.
Bithumb, the largest Korean crypto exchange.
Bithumb exchanges cryptocurrencies, and those like individuals can trade cryptocurrency to fiat or fiat to fiat. Wow. No, crypto to
now that's crypto. The largest, if I'm not mistaken, Korean crypto exchange.
Yes, we have big competitors, but we come first or second all the time.
And Vimana Global, blockchain aerospace and low-altitude flying taxis.
We engineered the architecture called Vimana Blockchain Aerospace Network, which is providing to the local governments the safe and reliable way to finally monetize the low-altitude aerospace as an ideal transport and communication system.
After so much information and exciting projects, Futurama had a retreat for anyone who felt it was time to relax. The first evening kicked off with the Desert Roast Party, a Burning Man-like experience. Created by the organizers to allow the people to mix and mingle in ways that I personally found very refreshing at a blockchain conference.
This is the first conference of its kind here in Dubai. What are your impressions?
Excitation of the senses, the mind and the visual stimulation, everything.
We had an amazing panel. We discussed the future of the centralized AI, and we brought this a step forward here with what I think Futurama really resembled what I talk about pleasure, which is business and leisure coming together in one of the most amazing business environment in the world.
I love that, pleasure. Futurama 2018, woo!
Absolutely amazing. Yes, it was an amazing show.
It's an undeniable positive vibe, very innovative, very motivated people.
If you've ever been to Burning Man, you've seen the Maya Warrior. She's working on their homes. She's creating art.
I'm extremely glad to welcome you in the Futurama. If someone doesn't know what the meaning of the very meaning of the Futurama is actually the event which took the US out of the Great Depression in 1937. I'm not saying this is a Great Depression on a crypto market, just an opposite. We are actually the bleeding edge of the technologies which are now getting the opportunities to get developed with a crypto. There are aerospace companies in the world. There are blockchain companies. Vimana is the first blockchain aerospace company.
I'd really like to know, as I'm sure many people, when will we see a live version of the craft?
The short answer within next month. But the key point that we already launched, we already performed a number of the flight tests. But it's just it's our in-house story, which we step by step developing. We found the holy grail of the VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, autonomous aerial vehicle industry, which is actually smooth rollover between vertical and horizontal flight. That means that in the end of the day, we just providing this solution, which extremely efficient in terms of the transition through the air, and which actually give us the performance that none of any solutions capable of providing.
Now, we can't forget about the other amazing minds that gathered at Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit. Costco to Go are solving the most pressing issue with car insurance, the speed of the payouts and repairs and the price, which according to these guys is already 50% cheaper with their insurance plan that's on the blockchain.
Costco to Go offer usage-based insurance, so you pay as you drive. For example, you drive 10,000 kilometers, I drive 100,000 kilometers in a year. Why should we pay the same? We're already online in 2 countries, and we will be in the second half of this year in German-speaking countries, and then all Europe. The blockchain help us finish problem with a claim issue just in time, in the same day, half an hour. In a half an hour, money will be in a repair shop to start repair your car. We believe, and we know that the people will love it to buy our insurance with our currency for half price for real money. So it means, for example, you pay 800 euro casco today in Germany, average price. You will pay 400 euro with a cryptocurrency from our company to our insurance, and we will have the same coverage. Absolutely 100% the same coverage like any other insurance company in Europe.
TerraVerge have amassed an amazing team of gaming industry creme de la creme to create a 3D world constructor and make sure you, as the developer, will always get paid.
Developers are the poor guys in this equation, and the publishers to a lesser extent, but the creators need to be rewarded for what they do. And we're creating a registry for IP so that anyone who creates anything, and we're building a tool in the world, we're partnering with the Unreal Engine, this big 3D engine, where I've got a great relationship with those guys. We're partnering with them to create a Fisher-Price version, a really simple version of their engine, so anyone can create content. Think of Minecraft or Roblox. I also have to qualify this. This is a really ambitious project. It's a big project. It's not just an entertainment platform, but as you say, we're delivering the ability for users to create their own, to create entertainment. Big plan. And we've assembled an incredible team, and because it's relevant, we've got our CTO is the ex-CTO of Sony PlayStation. Our commercial director is ex-VP of Electronic Arts Europe. We have Doug Dyer, who founded Warner Home Mobile in the US and THQ Mobile. I mean, we've got serious people with not just experience and expertise, but an amazing network.
Bitnautic have put ships and shipments of the world's sea trade onto the blockchain to eliminate so much middlemen and almost movie thriller-like contracts, making sure this community of the sea trade becomes transparent and much more productive.
We have created a special way for making a guarantee deposit of guarantee inside the smart contract, using the Bitnautic token, and that deposit will be all governed by the smart contract on the blockchain. So if I make an example, if I let me say I can charter your boat, so you are giving me your ship for my shipment of some dry bulk stuff. When the ship arrives to destination, for example, it's my duty to take my cargo off your ship. Most of the time it happens that the cargo stay on the ship because importation, exportation issues. And for you, if we are in 2 different legislation, maybe in the other side of the world, making me pay for the demarrage, for example, sometimes is very tricky. Our team is coming mostly from experience of international trading. So the founder is a trader that experienced on himself the kind of issues I'm describing you. 90% of the goods in the world are shipped through the seaborne shipping. But SMB are not simply able to conclude that. So we are wanting to make it simpler, safer, and of course, decentralized, available to everybody, and with clear, all-inclusive contracts concluded on the blockchain.
And it was inspiring meeting the man behind the company that is truly beating all records in South Korea, the crypto exchange that had Wall Street on its toes.
Yeah, I think the government is quite lost when it gets boomed up like last year, because like at one point, the transaction volume of cryptocurrency within Bithumb exceeded the stock market exchange.
The last day of the Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit wrapped up with a party on the Lotus, a 220-foot yacht that took us out to the middle of the Dubai Gulf. Burning Man DJs, exquisite seafood and drinks accompanied us through one of the most exciting networking events I've ever been to. We also caught up with a special guest, James Glasscock, the co-founder of the DNA Fund.
Dubai, is this going to be the 50% old crypto by 2020?
I think it has potential. It's an extraordinarily young city that's come a long way in a very short time, and I think there's a great opportunity for any city that's willing to step up and be creative to cause innovation.
What good have you discovered here for yourself?
The people and the community and the environment and everything that's creating. Right? The most amazing part about this event is not what's happening in the crypto world, which is exciting, or the blockchain world, which is exciting, but what's happening with the networking and all of the people and what's being created.
It's perfectly lovely. I love what Joshua and the Futurama team have put together. We've been having a great time. We've been learning a lot. For me, it's been really interesting to learn more about AI. It's an area that's not my expertise, so now I'm starting to get to combine more of my favorite things, and here we are at this party having a little fun too.
What brings you to Futurama?
So I actually work in the music industry. I came here with an interest in blockchain. Recently just started a blockchain company, literally a month ago. Was so surprised to find out how many people from the music industry are actually here doing things in tech, doing things in AI. I'm actually a little bit blown away. It's been incredible. This is spectacular. We're literally sitting on a yacht, looking at a beautiful view, with amazing people dancing and drinking champagne. So that's lovely. But the panels this morning were out of this world. One of my favorites was Brittany Kaiser. She's obviously former director of Cambridge Analytica, and she had some amazing things to say about data and fair use and how that's going to be used in AI in the future. Brock Pierce delivered an amazing keynote this morning. It was spectacular.
Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit. This is the last major event of this edition. We're coming back at you in Barcelona, in Puerto Rico, and even in France. We already have 3 more places lined up. This is a community that will uplift and elevate humanity, and we will do everything in our power to make it happen.
The future is now. We'll keep a watch out for the Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit. It was definitely one of the more exciting blockchain gatherings this year, and according to some, a platform for creating the future in the world of blockchain.
The way it kicked off with that first panel discussion was just wonderful. The caliber of the speakers, the subject matter. I was expecting very blockchain-centric discussion, and it's more about the future generally and how technology is going to play a role in a very, very positive way. And I found that not only inspiring, but also terribly informative. And I got to thinking that this could be the next generation TED. If you can keep up that impetus and exploit that particular element, I think Futurama could actually play a role in genuinely shaping the future. Someone's got to do it.
Don't miss the future. The future is now.